For centuries, we've written them off as just stories. Fanciful tales of fire-breathing monsters, island empires swallowed by the sea, and warrior women who challenge the heroes of Greece. But what if the line between myth and history is way blurrier than we ever imagined? What if the legends passed down through generations were never just legends at all? Today, we're digging into the ancient myths that, against all odds, turned out to be shockingly true. The Amazon warriors first up, a myth that has fascinated us for millennia, the Amazons. The ancient Greeks told epic stories of a nation of fierce, independent female warriors who were the equal of any man in a fight. For the longest time, historians figured these women were purely a product of the Greek imagination, a cool way to explore ideas about gender and society. Besides, there was no hard evidence they ever really existed. That is, until archaeology crashed the party. Across the vast Eurasian steppes, archaeologists started unearthing ancient tombs of the Scythians, nomads who lived around the same time as the ancient Greeks. And what they found was stunning. Buried inside these 2,500-year-old mounds were the skeletons of women. But these weren't just any burials. These women were laid to rest with the full honors of a warrior: bows, dozens of iron arrowheads, daggers, and even the remains of their horses. One grave held 4 women of different ages, from a teen to someone in her late 40s, all buried as fighters. Another revealed a woman with bowed legs, a classic sign of a life spent on horseback. These discoveries prove that warrior women weren't just a myth, they were a very real and probably very common part of Scythian culture. The Greeks didn't invent the Amazons. They were just reporting on the incredible horse-riding warrior women they met from the steppes. Atlantis and the volcano of Thera. Is there any myth more famous than the lost city of Atlantis? The Greek philosopher Plato described a magnificent island civilization with incredible technology and immense power, which apparently angered the gods and was sunk beneath the waves in a single terrifying day and night. For ages, dreamers and treasure hunters have searched for this sunken city, but most scholars just wrote it off as a philosophical fairy tale. But the core of the Atlantis story, a powerful island nation wiped out by a cataclysm, has a chilling parallel in actual history. Around 1600 BCE, the volcanic island of Thera, which we now call Santorini, suffered one of the most violent eruptions in human history. The eruption was colossal, estimated to be up to 100 times more powerful than Mount St. Helens. It literally blew the center out of the island, kicked off massive tsunamis, and blanketed the entire region in a cloud of ash. On Thera sat the thriving port city of Akrotiri, a major hub for the Minoan civilization. Excavations there have uncovered a remarkably advanced society, with multi-story buildings and stunning frescoes, all frozen in time under a thick blanket of volcanic ash. No human remains were found, which suggests the people had enough warning to get out, but their entire world simply vanished. This sudden, catastrophic destruction of an advanced island culture is now widely believed to be the real-life disaster that inspired Plato's timeless legend of Atlantis. The Kraken and the giant squid, release the Kraken. The line is famous now, but the legend of the Kraken is much, much older. For centuries, sailors from Scandinavia and all over the world told horrifying tales of a sea monster of unbelievable size, with massive tentacles that could drag entire ships down into the abyss. It was the stuff of nightmares, a beast that stood for all the terrifying mysteries of the deep. For a long time, the Kraken was dismissed as nothing more than a sailor's tall tale. But the ocean is full of secrets. While there's no monster that can pull down a modern ship, there is a creature that perfectly fits the ancient descriptions: the giant squid. This is a real animal, a mysterious deep sea dweller that can grow to shocking lengths of over 40 feet. For centuries, the only proof we had of its existence came from carcasses that washed ashore or the remains found in the stomachs of whales. It wasn't until 2004 that the first images of a live giant squid were ever captured, and we've only recently managed to film these creatures in their natural habitat. In a huge breakthrough in early 2025, researchers filmed a juvenile colossal squid, a related and even heavier species, alive in the deep sea for the very first time. These sightings confirm that the monstrous, tentacled beast of legend isn't a fantasy. The sailors who reported seeing the Kraken were likely among the very few who witnessed a giant or colossal squid surface from the depths. The Golden Fleece. Our next myth is a classic tale of heroism and adventure, Jason and the Argonauts' quest for the Golden Fleece. The story goes that Jason sailed to the faraway land of Colchis, in modern-day Georgia, to snatch a magical fleece of pure gold and claim his rightful throne. A literal fleece made of shimmering gold sounds like pure fantasy, the perfect symbol for an impossible quest, right? But what if the Golden Fleece wasn't a magical object, but a clever piece of ancient technology? Geological studies in the Svaneti region of Georgia, the historical site of Colchis, have shown that the local streams are packed with gold particles washed down from the mountains. For thousands of years, miners in this area have used a special technique to grab this gold. They would submerge sheepskins in the streams. The woolly fleece is fantastic at trapping the fine gold flakes as the water rushes through it. Once a fleece was full of gold, it would be hung up to dry, shimmering in the sun as if it were spun from solid gold. This practice almost certainly gave birth to the legend of a golden fleece. The myth wasn't about magic. It was about a real, gold-rich land and the brilliant method its people used to collect that treasure. From warriors and sea monsters to lost cities and clever inventions, the line between history and myth is constantly being redrawn by new discoveries. These stories weren't just for entertainment. They were the ancient world's way of explaining things, recording disasters, and remembering real people and places that might have otherwise been totally forgotten. What other myths do you think might be based in reality? Let us know in the comments below. And if you had fun uncovering the truth behind these ancient legends, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next trip into the past. Thanks for watching.